Hey guys, we're the Sports Addicts Podcast, and we're back again with the second part of our playoff predictions. This time, we're going to be analyzing the Western Conference first round matchups, and all the seedings confirmed. And starting off with the number 1 seed versus the number 8 seed, the Lakers versus the Blazers. Sai, who do you have? What are your predictions for this series?
Yeah, so I think the Lakers are obviously the number 1 seed. I have them winning as the favorites, but I think Portland coming in to the 8 seed was one of the worst situations for the Lakers. I feel like if any other team came in, like the Grizzlies who were in the playing game or like the Suns, I think the Lakers could have made easy work from them. I think the Blazers have the star power and the talent to push the Lakers to 6 games, which is why I have the Lakers winning 4-2. But I think the Lakers just overall, their team is just better. They have 2 superstars in Anthony Davis and obviously LeBron James, and their depth, even though it isn't like the best in the league, but they still have some quality players like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. They have JaVale McGee at center. They have a 6-man of the year candidate in Dwight Howard. So I think the Lakers will most likely pull it through.
I just have one question for you because, this is, in my opinion, the biggest question in the series. Who's going to guard Damian Lillard?
Yeah, but I'm not worried. But it's not like Damian Lillard can score 100 points a game, right? So it's not. It's not
at the rate that he's going.
It's like saying who's going to guard Anthony Davis, right? Who's going to guard LeBron? And they don't even have a wing on there who can guard LeBron James. So you can say Hassan Whiteside and Yusuf Nurkic is going to guard Davis, but no one can guard LeBron James. So it's kind of like the same thing on the other side.
True, but the Lakers that we saw in the bubble, they had the worst offense whatsoever. Their shots were not falling. Davis, he played like the best player in the world one game, and then he played like a role player another game. LeBron, before the bubble, before the NBA restart, he was playing as the best player in the NBA in the world. But after the bubble, he started playing more at an all-star level, the level that we're not expecting him to see. We didn't expect to see LeBron playing at that level. We expected higher accomplishments, higher scoring, facilitating more aggressive. We expected a more aggressive LeBron, and bubble Lakers, they really haven't been that good. They really don't have a consistent third scoring threat. Yeah, sure, Kuzma has been good.
But you're right about that. You're right about obviously the Lakers not playing well in the bubble, but it doesn't really matter in my opinion. I feel like the Lakers, they know they clinched the first seed. Why do they need to play in the bubble, right? They're not proving anything. It's not like they're making money, right? They're obviously making money, but it's not like they're making money by winning every game, right? They clinched the first seed. They just want to relax. Like if you see LeBron, he's not playing heavy minutes either. So there's no reason for the Lakers to really put it all out there and give their 110% effort to win the game. So I think the Lakers, I'm not worried about them. I think the Lakers easily get past the Blazers.
Yeah, Lakers getting past them, yeah, sure. But I expect it to be a 7-game series. I mean, the Blazers have Lillard, he can score. McCollum can score. Anthony's been actually a very efficient scorer. And Nurkic, after he came back, he's actually fit in perfectly. He's provided a reliable post presence. And I feel like this is going to be a really difficult matchup for the Lakers because say if you put, let's say, I don't know, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope guards Dame Lillard or Alex Caruso, you really don't have.
I think Danny Green might guard Damian Lillard.
Danny Green is not the defensive player that he was. Him going one-on-one with.
He's not very old in my opinion. He's fine. He's above average in my opinion.
It'll be interesting to see because I feel like if anyone has the best shot at an upset in this playoffs, it's the Blazers. The way they've been playing, their defense has been.
They definitely have the talent.
Yeah,
I feel like the defense for the Blazers, in my opinion, is pretty horrendous. They can't guard anyone. Carmelo's terrible at defense. The guards are just undersized and they're just not great on defense, right? And Whiteside isn't the defender who he was in Miami. So I feel like the Blazers they aren't good enough on defense, and their coaching is still questionable. Even though Terry Stotts is a big name, he's just this team took a step back for a reason. I think defense is mainly the reason why.
It's going to be a shootout. All of those games, I expect to see high scoring 120 plus 130 plus games, and it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be high scoring.
Yeah. Moving on to the number 2 seed versus the number 7 seed, the LA Clippers versus the Dallas Mavericks. Who do you have in that series?
Yeah. So this series, I feel like it's way closer on paper than it would be in real life. And I think the Clippers are going to make light work of the Dallas Mavericks. I think they're going to win in 5 games. I think, obviously, Dallas Mavericks have superstars in Luka and Kristaps Porzingis, in my opinion, who hasn't reached his potential yet. And I think the Clippers have established stars, right, in Kawhi and Paul George. And I feel like the Clippers' depth is just so good. They have players top to bottom. They have starting caliber players coming off the bench, like Lou Williams, obviously, Montrezl Harrell. Even Reggie Jackson is a starting caliber player. So I think the Clippers, their roster is just second to none in this league. I feel like they have the best roster, in my opinion. I just think and the Mavericks just really don't compete. But I feel like the Clippers could have chemistry issues, which could like lose them a game or so, because Kawhi obviously didn't play in every game this season, and Paul George was injury riddled early on. So I feel like the Clippers could have a couple issues in the playoffs, but I feel like it won't happen in this series.
Yeah, adding on to your chemistry point, obviously they need to get Montrezl Harrell back in shape. Also, Lou Williams back in shape after that incident that he had where he left the bubble. And I also agree with you. The Mavericks have been amazing. They've been a highly efficient offense, but the Clippers have so many guys. Kawhi can guard Luka. PG can guard Luka. Even Markieff Morris Marcus Markieff or is it Markieff or Marcus Morris?
Marcus. Yeah.
Marcus Morris, yeah. You can also throw him on Luka. They can just throw a plethora of guys at Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I think the Dallas defense is just something that it's not great,
exactly.
So.
Yeah, it's middle of the pack.
So
however, yeah, if Kristaps Porzingis there's no one on that team that can guard Kristaps Porzingis. However, so if he can have a couple good games, maybe the Dallas Mavericks they'll be able to pull off 1 win or 2 wins. But yeah, I don't see it being a close series.
Yeah, I think that the Dallas, but if you get past their 2 stars, right, they just don't have too many role players. Like they have Seth Curry, he's a pretty good shooter, right? They have JJ Barea. They have some pretty average players, in my opinion. I think they just need another piece, like a third scoring option, because right now Kristaps Porzingis is inconsistent. So
yeah,
I'm not sure if the Dallas Mavericks can even win a game, but I think they'll probably steal one.
Yeah, so moving on to the number 3 seed versus the number 6 seed, the Denver Nuggets versus the Utah Jazz. Who do you have?
Yeah, so I have the Denver Nuggets winning the series. I think the Denver Nuggets are just a really good team. Like they obviously Jokic got way leaner in the bubble after the hiatus, and I think Nikola Jokic is just way too good for the Utah Jazz. I feel like even though Rudy Gobert can probably defend him at the rim, Jokic is much more than a player who bumps and bruises other players like Joel Embiid. I feel like his game is just way more different, and I think the coaching with Mike Malone is really good, and I think the Utah Jazz, in my opinion, are a little overrated. So I think the Utah Jazz, they lost Bojan Bogdanovic. That's a big loss for them, in my opinion. I think he was their second scoring threat, and now besides Donovan Mitchell, I feel like no one can really score on that team. They'll have issues scoring, which is why they're obviously the 6th seed. Their defense is obviously great. Their coach Quinn Snyder, he's really good, but I feel like the offense for Utah will definitely be an issue because they can't rely on Joe Ingles to get him 20 points a game. So I'm not sure if they can keep up the scoring of the Nuggets, and the Nuggets defense itself is not even that bad. So.
Yeah, and you have to remember, let's say Rudy Gobert manages to slow down or contain Nikola Jokic. They still have Jamal Murray and they have Michael Porter Jr., who's been going off.
Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. is definitely an X factor.
Yeah, although the Utah defense is stingy, Denver Nuggets, they have so many scoring threats. Murray, Porter, Jokic, and sometimes even guys like Gary Harris or Bol or potentially Will Barton. So I think this is just the Denver Nuggets are better in every possible way. Just a huge mismatch between the Jazz and the Nuggets.
Yeah, I think that Denver has the stars are better, and then their depth also is really better, much better. I feel like another guy that goes under the radar is Jeremy Grant. He's another really good player on the team, and Paul Millsap has been forgotten about. Sorry.
True.
So I think the Denver Nuggets, their roster is really good. They just need one of their players to step up as stars. Like Jamal Murray needs to become one of the best point guards in the league for them to go all the way. But I feel like they can make light work of the Jazz, and most likely win in 6 games, in my opinion.
Yeah, and now moving on to, in my opinion, the most exciting first-round series, the Houston Rockets versus the OKC. Obviously, a lot of bad blood between the Rockets and OKC. Westbrook went from OKC to the Rockets. Paul went from the Rockets to OKC. James Harden played for OKC earlier on in his career. There's just so many storylines. This is literally a dream come true. Obviously, Westbrook's going to be out for the first few games, but who do you see taking this series?
Yes, I have the Houston Rockets actually winning the series, even though they're the 5 seed. I think this is right now the Rockets. They have the star talent on paper. The Thunder, this is a great coach team. I feel like Billy Donovan doesn't get enough credit for what he did with this Oklahoma City Thunder team. After, especially, they lost their cornerstones. They lost Durant. They lost Harden. Obviously, they lost Westbrook. And I feel like if you look at the 2 teams, the team that should win is most likely the Rockets. On paper, you can see, okay, the team is just so much better. But I feel like the Thunder just plays so well together, and I think the Thunder can push it to 7 games, but I just don't think they have enough to beat the Rockets.
No way. That's just a terrible. There's no way the Rockets are going to win this series. I feel like the Thunder are going to win in 6. I mean, so the Rockets' philosophy on defense is no threes allowed, and we want mid-range numbers. But the thing is, the Thunder excel in those situations. Chris Paul, mid-range god. Gallinari can hit in the mid-range. Dennis Schroeder, he can hit in the mid-range. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he can
The
hit
Thunder, right? The Thunder, right? But they have all the players that can, like, they don't have a guy. They need a guy who can score points, right? The Thunder are gonna have a lot of trouble scoring on this
Chris
Rockets
Paul
team.
can score. He's been a reliable scorer. He's the point
Who?
guard. Chris Paul.
Oh, Chris Paul, yeah. Chris Paul's fine, but he's, 34 years old at this point.
He's
His
still
legs are
playing
getting
great.
older.
I
I think
mean,
the Thunder were a revelation this year, and I don't really believe that the Thunder have to attack the Rockets' one weakness, which is center. Obviously, they're playing PJ Tucker at center.
and you
I
have to
don't
remember,
think the
Steven
Thunder
Adams
can
is the
attack.
strongest man in the NBA. That's also
Yeah,
going to
he
be
can.
huge.
He's strong. Doesn't mean he's a scoring threat. There's a difference between being strong and a scoring threat.
No, strong. He can box him out, get the rebound, put it back. It's like literally as simple
Yeah,
as that.
he can. Yeah, but it's not as easy as you think, right? If you look at the Rockets, right, they fire as many threes as they can. And I think the Thunder, they just don't have enough offense. Like if the Rockets get it going, right? If Westbrook's out for most of this year, I don't believe the Rockets are going to win. But I'm telling you, the most important player for this Rockets team is Russell Westbrook. Even though he's not better than James Harden, I think he's the most important. He makes this team go, in my opinion. I think even though he can't shoot the ball, his
Yeah, and he's out.
facilitating really helps.
He's out for probably most of the series.
Yeah, he said the first few games. It doesn't mean most of the year. If you look at if the Rockets can if the Westbrook's out for like the first 3 games, and if the Rockets can get like 1 win, I think the Rockets are in a good place. As long as they don't like start off 3-0 or anything like that, I think the Rockets can most likely win this series in 7.
One more point to bring up. You have to remember that Harden's always been well, his body sort of wears down at like by the time the playoffs start, and now his usage rate.
Yeah, but that's mostly in the second round. He's ready in the first round. You know, he always gets out of the first round.
He's going to be touching the ball every single possession. Without Westbrook, Eric Gordon's been playing terribly. They don't really have any other offensive threats. His usage rate is going to be like 100%, and that's going to be like a lot. That's going to take a huge toll on Harden. Obviously, we see him dropping 45, 50 without breaking a sweat. But I feel like this Thunder defense, which has actually been really, really good, is going to make it much harder for Harden to score. And I expect it to be a 4-1 or 4-2 in the favor of the Thunder.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say because Oklahoma City right now, I'm pretty sure are the favorites, like the betting odds favorites. Yeah, so I think it's definitely fair to say, but I think the Rockets are just a more proven talent. Mike D'Antoni's gonna coach for his life at this point, but I feel like he's gonna be kicked out. Like he's gonna be fired if the Thunder, if the Rockets don't get past the first round, especially. So I think the Rockets are gonna play like their like jobs are on the line. So right, I think the Rockets are gonna steal it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see with all these storylines. And this will do it for our Western playoff predictions for round 1. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.